Just when I thought I'd finally have some time to relax, my sister, Emma, came over and said, "It's still early for dinner." I could tell something felt off with her. "I need to tell you something important, Sarah," she said casually. I assumed she was about to ask me for more expensive clothes or makeup, like usual. "My name is Sarah. I work at an ad agency. My father worked in government, and I grew up in a comfortable home. My mom always spoiled my younger sister, Emma, who's 5 years younger than me. She had big, bright blue eyes, a small nose, and was really good at getting what she wanted. She was spoiled to the point of always asking for expensive things, only to lose interest in them quickly. I always felt plain growing up, and I didn't have a special talent like Emma, so I worked hard at school to get my parents' attention. Even though I did well, they never really noticed, and I often felt lonely. I worked hard to stay polite, and that helped me land a job at a top ad agency after I graduated. 2 years ago, I married my coworker, Jack, and started a new chapter of my life. Emma, on the other hand, didn't care about school. She went to a small college, but she had a stunning body and always dressed fashionably, so she got plenty of attention from guys. She was always surrounded by a group of them, and I often heard she received expensive gifts from them. Whenever I saw her at our parents' house, she would show me pictures of her handsome boyfriends and brag about them nonstop. Her boyfriend seemed to change every time I saw her, which made me worried about her short relationships. I thought maybe it was just a game for her since she always had guys interested in her. Eventually, she started showing up for dinner at my house, probably because she realized how close Jack and I lived to her college. She lived alone in a fancy, but expensive, apartment after begging our parents to let her stay there. I knew she didn't cook because it would ruin her nails. I'd been to her place a few times just to see how she lived, and the kitchen was always empty. She must have missed home-cooked meals, and it was likely easier for her to save money on food at my place. But she never offered to pitch in, and she never acted grateful. Although Jack and I didn't have kids, we were both busy with work, and Emma would always show up unannounced. It made me feel uneasy at home, and I started getting frustrated. I talked to Jack about it. "Come on, she's your sister. Don't be so hard on her. Besides, I don't mind having her over," he said. Since Jack never helped with housework, he didn't really understand how much work it took. I had always taken care of everything because at the beginning of our marriage, he didn't want to help. I tried to stay calm, putting on some loud music to relax. One Saturday afternoon, I was thinking to myself, finally, some time to relax, and I was really looking forward to it. But, as usual, Emma showed up. It was still early for dinner, and I could feel something was off with her. "I need to tell you something, Sarah," she said, sounding too calm. I figured she was about to ask me for something expensive again. "You know, I'm actually dating Jack." I was so shocked I just stared at her. "What? Dating my husband? What are you talking about?" "Yeah, we're together now," she said casually. Before I could respond, Jack came in from the living room and said, "Yeah, we're together, so I think we should break up." "Break up? Do you mean divorce?" I asked, feeling confused. "Please, Sarah, I need you to leave him. I'm pregnant." "What? No, this can't be true." "Yes, I'm having a baby." It was too much to take in. Not only was she having an affair with Jack, but now she was asking me to leave him because she was pregnant. They stood close to each other, smiling at me, and it felt like a bad dream. But it wasn't over yet. "I think we need to make sure the new baby has a good environment. Don't you agree, Sarah?" I thought nothing could surprise me anymore, but I was still curious about what Emma would say next. As I blankly stared at her, I happened to see an ad. "Look, isn't this a nice condo? I'm impressed you found such a great place." We already checked it out. It's big, clean, and convenient. It's the perfect place for us. And how does that concern me? You're so clueless sometimes. You've been with Jack for 2 years, and you still can't get pregnant. He told me he feels disappointed and hurt. We're having a baby. You should be happy for us. Are you blaming me because I didn't get pregnant? Not exactly. Look, Sarah, you have a better job and make more money than I do. Can you help us out for the sake of your future niece or nephew? I don't have enough money for the down payment right now. I'll pay you back, I promise." Jack had never been good with money. He spent it quickly, trying to impress people with designer items, but never actually used them. When we were dating, we always split the costs, and sometimes Jack forgot his wallet or didn't have enough money, so I often paid. Even in our marriage, I was the one covering more of the expenses. But I still loved him, and I never complained about it. Please, Sarah. I asked our parents, but they turned me down. Isn't that awful? The two of them kept asking me to do things for them. I was at a loss for words at how selfish they were being. They had an affair behind my back, got pregnant without planning, and now they were asking me for help buying a condo. It was all just too much. Looking back, Emma had always been selfish. When we were kids, she would take my favorite toys and make me cry. After I started working, she would ask me to buy her things. But this was a whole new level compared to an affair and asking for money for a condo. I couldn't keep loving Jack or Emma after everything that happened. I couldn't bear this painful reality, so I packed my things and moved into an apartment on my own. Strangely, I felt relieved. It felt like being single again. Sarah? I heard a soft voice and turned around. It was Beth, my senior at work, the one I had been waiting for. Sorry I couldn't finish my paperwork, I said. No worries. I'm the one who asked you to meet me when you're busy. Let's order something to eat, shall we? Beth efficiently handled the menu and ordered. I wanted to talk to her about everything going on with Emma and Jack, and I hoped she could offer some advice. That must have been really tough for you, Beth said. She listened to my story like it was her own. I almost burst into tears but managed to tell Beth everything. I hadn't felt like eating much in the past few days, but she gently encouraged me to try the food, so I did. It's so good, right? The decor isn't anything special, but the food is amazing here. After chatting for a while, Beth suddenly got serious and asked, So, what are you going to do? Jack and I can't go back to the way things were, so I guess we're getting a divorce. I get it. If my boyfriend cheated on me, I'd end it too, no matter how much I loved him. If it was just a one-night thing or something, maybe I'd give him another chance. But she's my sister. She's still a student. Beth listened patiently and continued to support me. On my way back to my apartment, I saw several messages from Jack. He wanted to move forward with a divorce as soon as possible, just to get it over with. He also mentioned the condo. All his messages were one-sided. From the way he wrote, it was clear he still saw me as just a housekeeper or a cash machine. How much more was he going to degrade me? I was sure I was done with him. The next day, I decided to see a lawyer, and soon after, I filed for divorce. I had already hired a private investigator and had him gather photos and videos of Jack and Emma together. I had solid proof. I even had a recording of their outrageous demands. In a way, it was ironic that I saved money on the investigation thanks to the recording. Of course, I asked for a large alimony settlement. When Jack found out the amount, I could tell he felt like he'd been drained of everything. One day, Jack and Emma were waiting for me in the lobby of my office. They approached me like bulls charging at a matador. I had expected this, knowing how shameless they were. I took a deep breath, faced them, and said calmly, Of course you're going to pay me alimony. Emma, you're an adult now, and this is a good lesson for you. No, we can't pay you. You're a terrible sister. Why are you doing this? She begged, her eyes puffy and moist. I recognized her manipulative strategy, but I wasn't fooled. By the way, I've already told her boss about your affair and the divorce, I added. No, you're joking. Him, of all people. Well, aside from you, I'm in a higher position at the company. He doesn't want my work to be affected. What? You think I'm an idiot? I'm just telling you what her boss told me to say. He was surprised and disappointed in you. Wait, the chairman of our company is actually a distant relative of mine. What? I didn't know that. You never mentioned it. Jack's face went pale at the mention of the word chairman. He was even starting to sweat. I've told you several times before, since we got married, you've mostly ignored me when I talk to you. But this is beyond terrible. We were married all this time. That's my line. It doesn't matter now that we're getting a divorce. You both brought this on yourselves. True, but of course, Emma is also responsible for what happened. Aren't you ashamed of yourself for having an affair with a college student and getting her pregnant? And then you asked me to buy a condo for you? Do you think someone with no morals or respect for society should be asking for things like that? I strongly disagree. Whatever. I just wanted to borrow some money. Didn't you send me the amount in an email? I don't think it was just a little. Anyway, it's not up to you to decide what happens with my work. No, it's my boss's decision. I haven't told you yet, but I've been approached for an HR position. Your boss, you mean Beth? Oh no, what if you're in trouble at work now? What are you going to do? What about the condo? Please help us, Sarah. They were in complete panic now, begging me frantically to fix Jack's reputation with the bosses. People in the office were starting to notice us. I told them to go through my lawyers and left the building. Soon after, security noticed them and took them away for questioning. They called me many times, but I didn't pick up. They also sent me texts, but I didn't care about any of them. Later, Jack got a serious warning from the chairman about the affair and causing a scene at the company, which left him feeling really down. Jack had a lot of pride, so I'm sure it was very embarrassing for him. A short time later, Jack was transferred to a branch in another city, and Emma went with him, even though she didn't like it. She was used to living in the city and didn't like the small-town life. She had trouble adjusting and blamed Liam for everything. They fought a lot. Jack, on the other hand, was unhappy at home because Emma didn't help with any of the housework. He often emailed me complaining about her. Emma started shopping online a lot to cope with her stress, which got them into financial trouble. Jack had to borrow money to pay off her debts, and it left him drained from paying off the loans. Eventually, they broke up after 6 months. Emma, now a single mom with a baby, went back to her old ways and started dating a string of men who were just like her, selfish and dishonest. They cheated on her and took advantage of her. Eventually, she stopped trusting men even though she used to date a lot. She needed money and begged her parents to let her and her baby move back in. She seemed to have a little better life under their watch. Our mom changed her attitude toward Emma and asked her to contribute to the household expenses. I was surprised when I heard that Emma actually got a part-time job. Meanwhile, I was excited to be asked to go on my first business trip abroad with Beth as her assistant. We were busy preparing for the trip. Hey Sarah, that guy is here again, Beth said quietly, nodding toward someone. Who? Oh, Mark. Yeah, he's been showing up every day lately. Mark works in a different department and is known for being friendly and funny. He was looking around the office, but when he saw us, he came over with a big smile. He wanted our opinions on a work matter, so we moved to a conference room to talk privately. Oh, I remember. I have something urgent to do. Sorry guys, I'll be back. Beth left in the middle of the meeting and Mark and I sat quietly for a moment. Should we take a break? Mark asked, stepping out to grab drinks and handing one to me. Later, Beth cornered me and asked a lot of questions. My gut feeling is that he likes you. Really? You think so? Yeah, we used to work in the same department. He's really good at his job and is a genuine person. What do you think about him? I know he's well respected at work, but I don't know. I'd say he's just a nice guy. Oh, I think he's a good match for you. You two have a good vibe together. Hey, you're making me nervous now. Maybe I'll ask him out for dinner when I get back from the trip. I started thinking more about my future.